Some of us don't even know what our great strengths are is because we've never been around somebody whose weakness is our strength.
I wonder if people are doing that enough. I mean, you just got to get around winners because they'll rub off on you, you know? And you're not going to lose your ability to be great at relationships.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another episode of Next Level University, where we teach you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode. It was episode number 1376. One simple question to ask yourself before you make a decision. Today, for episode number 1377, 2 of the biggest growing pains. Alan came up with this idea. I guess it was kind of your idea for this episode, so I feel like 2 things. 1, last episode I tried to say the one simple question to ask yourself before you make a decision, and I butchered it pretty badly, so I'm not going to try that again. 2, I can't steal your topic. 3, your landscapers are hammering it out there right now.
You can
now
hear that?
I can hear it. It's okay.
Yeah,
you got to do what you got to do. Hey, we all have a job to do. You got to do what you got to do.
I'm grateful for them, just not in this particular moment.
It's okay. It's all good. We're going to power through like we do. So The value, why are we doing this episode? What does it all mean? Let's just start and go there.
Okay, so you've heard the quote that Kevin says where your purpose comes from your deepest pain.
That's Evan Carmichael. I can't take credit for that either.
Fair. I don't know where he got it, but yeah. Your purpose comes from your deepest pain. And I've since coached a lot of different types of people. And the human condition is the human condition, but there's a lot of different nuances. It's kind of like we're all ice cream, but maybe Kevin is Rocky Road and I'm Black Raspberry and someone else is bubblegum ice cream. Okay, so we're all ice cream, but we're all different flavors. Pretty cool analogy. When you eat enough ice cream, in this analogy, or coach enough ice cream,
he says, pretty cool analogy, huh? Wink, wink. Pretty cool ice cream.
Cool,
I see what you're doing.
as in pun intended.
I see what you're doing.
So I actually didn't mean to do that, but
I know.
Anyway,
but
thank you
it.
for the credit.
You're welcome.
Own it. So I eventually came to realize that our purpose does come from our deepest pain, which we've been saying, but our deepest pain differs greatly. And usually our deepest pain comes from one of 2 main areas. Okay? One of 2 main areas. Your deepest pain, if you're out there listening, is either number 1, from not being capable enough in terms of achieving the outcomes you want in life, aka goals. Okay? So if you feel like you're always behind, you feel like you don't have the career you want, you feel like you don't have the business you want, you feel like you don't have the outcomes you want, you feel like you aren't getting the fitness results you want or the career goals you want or the salary you want or the that kind of thing. Okay, so if you feel like you struggle to achieve your goals, you genuinely struggle to achieve your goals, your deepest pain is most likely feeling not capable enough. Okay, so this is the side of the spectrum that Kevin is on. He doesn't feel capable enough, and he didn't used to feel like he could achieve his goals and his dreams. He wanted to drive around the U.S. in a Winnebago way back in the day with his buddies and drive ATVs.
Whatever the mood, whenever the mood was striking, we would do that thing.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. And he said that, but had no idea how to actually achieve it. Wanted to be a professional fighter, didn't know how to do it. All kinds of stuff. You talked about on the last episode a job that you applied to that you thought was a gimme, didn't get it, and then there was another job for $18 an hour that you didn't even apply to because you were too scared. You didn't think you were capable. And you said verbatim, even if I got the job, which I didn't think I was gonna, I didn't think I'd be capable of doing the job.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kevin's deepest pain comes from not achieving his goals, not feeling good enough, not feeling smart enough, not feeling enough. Okay? That's bucket 1. Bucket 2 is very different. Bucket 2 is you actually feel very capable. You feel smart enough. You feel good enough. You feel hardworking enough. You feel like achieving your goals is, it's difficult at times, but it's pretty easy in comparison to most people. For me, I'm in this bucket. I feel like achieving things that I set my mind to has never been super difficult until I started this podcast with you, Kev. Because in this podcast with you, I'll give an example. Achieving a goal of I want to get promoted in corporate America and make 6 figures. That always felt doable, and it always felt like it came naturally to me. This podcast, on the other hand, didn't come as naturally to me because I didn't realize I was talking to the other bucket. And now, as an older, wiser man, I realize, okay, I'm talking to a lot of people who their deepest pain isn't my deepest pain. So in this bucket, my bucket, you feel very capable, you feel intelligent, you do feel like you're smart enough, good enough. You know you have to grow and improve, for sure, but that all comes fairly naturally to you. But your deepest pain comes from getting along with others. Your deepest pain comes from being liked or fitting in. So if you're out there listening right now, do you feel like you naturally fit in with others? And if that's true, you most likely struggle to achieve your big goals. You're most likely not as good at achievement. You're most likely struggling with self-belief, because it's very common to struggle with self-belief. If you're out there and you feel like you don't struggle with achievement very much, you feel like you always achieve what you set your mind to, you most likely struggle to fit in, because that's very uncommon. And your deepest pain, if you're great at achievement, is most likely social pain. Not being liked, people being jealous of you, people trying to knock you down, not feeling like you fit in, being bullied. And if you're on Kevin's end, you most likely get along with everybody, you're easily likable, you're usually fun and funny, but you struggle to achieve your goals, and you probably don't feel smart enough or capable enough. And I do think that that is true for every one of us. And I think that there are some people in the middle that struggle with both, and that's a whole nother level of challenge. But usually your deepest pain is more social or more achievement.
It's interesting because when you were saying that, it's like, it kind of makes sense why, if achievement is easy, relationships might be hard, because what's necessary for achievement is rare, and a lot of people aren't going to like that.
Yep.
Right? Unless you're surrounded by people who are focused on achievement, but the people who are focused on achievement aren't really focused on relationships.
Yep.
So then that's a whole nother thing. I was talking to somebody recently. I went on her show, and then I did a free call with her. And again, I might be a podcast coach, but we talk about all sorts of stuff. And this was the first time I was actually capable of recognizing that. Oh my goodness, you most likely have been hated on for most of your life. Because we were talking about something, and she was talking about her neighbor. She's like, yeah, my neighbor hates me. She's always like calling people. She's like, I don't know, I don't get it. And I said, that's happened to you often, hasn't it? And she said, yeah. And we went into it. I was like, you have 10 out of 10 belief in herself.
Mm-hmm.
She runs a high-level financial planning company for legacy planning for what happens to you after you pass on.
Nice.
And she works with very wealthy individuals. It's like, oh, interesting. Okay. But you believe anything is possible. She's like, yeah, I know. I can do like pretty much anything. It's like, oh my goodness, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the thing. Self-conscious, scarce Kev, I wouldn't be able to hang out with that person. No way.
Yeah. And you would have to either face the fact that you're not confident, or you'd have to villainize her.
I would have most likely villainized her in the past. I've said that many times on here and other shows. I don't know if 26-year-old Kev would like this version of me. I don't think he would. I think he'd be very intimidated, or...
I think you would. I don't. Would, because I think your core didn't change.
But it's not about the core. It's about what you see. You have a wonderful core. It's not that I never valued your core.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't it. It was just, that's not what I saw. And the closer I got to you, the more I see how much you care and why you do this. But I didn't see that in the beginning. It's like, what do you mean you're the best? Like, what are you talking about? That's all I was capable of seeing at the time. And here I am thinking, I'm not that good at anything. How dare you? How dare you think you're the best at anything? I'm not good at anything. It's just, there's so much contrast. So it's almost like you're set up to kind of be angry at the other side in a way.
I know.
That, it's like, if you have a level 10 belief in yourself, you're going to, and I'm not saying intentionally, but you might accidentally look down on people and be like, why aren't you accomplishing more? I don't believe in myself. Oh, okay. I don't know what that's like. And then on the other end, people might say, oh, how could you be so full of yourself? Well, I'm not full of myself. I just believe in myself. Though what I see is you're full of yourself because I don't know what it's like. Very interesting how it's two sides of a coin.
And it creates pain. It creates pain, and there's little T trauma and big T trauma, and your trauma is either you find it really difficult to coexist and get along with others, or you find it really difficult to be competent, capable, and achieve your goals. And I do believe it is that simple. And here's the thing. We've said this many times on this podcast. If you want a coach, you need a therapist. I wanted a coach. I have a therapist. And I needed a therapist way more than I needed a coach. If you want a therapist, you need a coach. And I do believe that's because of this. I had this really profound moment recently where I realized that working harder and working smarter isn't going to do it for me. Because that was the paradigm I'm already running. If working harder and working smarter was the issue, now don't get me wrong, I'm still going to work harder and smarter. Of course. But that's natural. I love that. For me, it's courage and vulnerability. And Brene Brown talks about how you can't have courage without being vulnerable. And so it's emotional intelligence. It's emotional regulation. It's courage. It's vulnerability. It's understanding trauma, understanding what it does to your body, understanding other people's perception of you, understanding empathy, understanding other people who don't have self-belief and what that might be like. So I feel very strongly that the medicine that will cure one patient will actually harm another. And that's why this podcast is challenging, because we're trying to give you both doses for both sides of both coins. It's only one coin, but it sounded cooler the other way, right? And it's interesting. So if you're on Kevin's side and you feel like your deepest pain is, honestly, I don't know how I'm going to achieve my dreams. You want a beach house and you don't feel like you can get it. That's not my deepest pain. If I wanted a beach house, I would have one. And I know how arrogant that comes off. But it is true. I could have afforded one back in my early 20s. Yep. That's not my issue, but that might be yours. So here's what you do. Hire a coach who doesn't have that issue. They'll teach you how to do it. I can teach you how to get a beach house. I have clients right now that are going to have a mansion in the mountains. I've taught them exactly how to do it. They're saving $1,000 like every single month each. It's unbelievable. $1,000 total. So $500 each. But I think they're ahead of schedule. I think it might even be more than that.
My name is Alex, and I am a professional videographer who runs a production company out of Halifax, Nova Scotia. The one thing that I love about working with Alan is that right away he was able to come in and set up a system for me that makes sure that I am taking charge of my time and I'm taking the actionable steps that I need in order to progress towards my goals on a day-to-day basis. When I get off the phone with him, I always find that I am energized and I am getting the most out of what I do with my time.
The point is, it's not that difficult, in my opinion, to save to buy a mansion. And I'll share this with our listeners. Giving a speech that I think would be valuable in front of 100 people, personally, I feel like wouldn't be that challenging. But giving a speech where every one of those 100 people would like me at the end of it feels genuinely impossible for me. And you want to talk about self-belief. I have no belief that that's possible. I don't even think I could do it if I tried, at least not staying me. There's going to be someone in that audience who just hates me. Just doesn't like me, thinks I'm arrogant or full of it or cocky or whatever. And eventually, and that's the social pain, right? If you're easily liked, you're probably don't have any pain associated with that. But you're probably scared to give a great speech. You're probably afraid your speech isn't going to be good.
Usually.
Yeah.
Less than ever, but
so
it's
work on the other side. That's all I'm saying is go ahead.
I wonder what side's easier to work on.
They're both pretty challenging, I think. But again, of course, I'm going to think that.
Well, they are. Right? They both are. I'm just thinking to myself, I don't know.
Isn't it interesting how you got a therapist and you needed coaches?
Well,
I got a coach and I needed a therapist.
I definitely needed a therapist at the time too.
Yeah, fair.
But that you said something recently on an episode. You're like, Kev, I think it's time for you to get a therapist. Like, Alan, I'm not afraid to get a therapist. That's not why I don't have one. I'm not afraid at all. Zero. There's no part of me that's afraid of that. It's just it was time, and I didn't have insurance, and I didn't want to pay out of pocket. That was really the truth. I'm not afraid to talk to a therapist at all.
Would you be afraid to get a coach?
No, I don't think so. We've had enough at this point. No.
But you were in the beginning.
In the beginning, I was afraid to do both.
Pardon my French for the kids listening. I know a lot of our listeners have children that listen. You were shitting kittens before the Evan Carmichael coaching calls.
Definitely. But that's
understandable given how those went.
Well, and it was that's Evan Carmichael. I know to you. I still have that moment. For those listening, Evan Carmichael, if you don't know who he is, he's a big YouTuber and he's very well connected and one of the most successful people in our industry. And I could send him a DM right now, say, hey, Evan, what's going on? And he'd get right back to me. Like, we're buddies now. That's weird for me. That's super weird. Super, super, super weird. I never thought that was going to happen. It's weird. So I had a very interesting moment. I want to share this with the audience because I think this is very valuable. I did a podcast pre-call recently, and the guy logs on, and he's like outside. The Wi-Fi's terrible. And he's like, are you coming on my show? Am I coming on your show? Like, what's the deal? And I was like, we don't have guests, so I must be here to be on your show. He's like, sounds good. Awesome. Let me walk you through what we do here. And I was like, sure, let's do it. And he said, what I usually do is you'll come to me with a problem, and I'll consult with you live, and I'll help you try to solve your problem. What do you think? And I was like, no. Can't do it. I said, I am so afraid of sounding arrogant in this moment. I apologize. I do not want to come off as arrogant. And to his credit, he was like, no, dude, you're good. And I said, but I don't need your help. Like, I'll go to Alan. Alan knows. I don't want to do it. And I said, you got to understand, I know, and here, this will sound arrogant, and I know that saying it. I know you have like 7 businesses and you're a multimillionaire, but we're going to be where you are in a few years. We're just not there yet. It's not that we don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it. Alan knows how to do it. And maybe I know more than I used to, obviously. Mm-hmm. But all it is time. It's just the time perspective of you don't necessarily know what I don't. You're just further along. And I had to say that. I was like, I'm sorry if this sounds arrogant, but we're going to be fine. The issues that we're having are not, most likely not the issues that you had, because our goals are bigger. That's all.
Right.
All right. We're not trying to do what you're doing. That's okay. I'm not making that wrong, but it would be it would be a little reckless for me to let you coach me live.
Yeah. Because
it's not real. I would have to make up a problem. That. You love when that happens, when you and I go somewhere and somebody I think we talked about this in a recent episode.
Favorite thing ever.
Here's why I struggle, because I
Watching
literally
have to dance around it. It's hilarious.
I have to make up a problem. It's not a real problem. It's not real. If I have a problem, I come to you. Now, is Alan the end-all, be-all wizard and knows everything? No. Obviously, there's stuff he doesn't know. But would I trust Alan more than anybody else? Yeah. That's why we're business partners, right? Like, I have to believe that. But that was very weird for me because here's what happens. I normally would have fawned and just done it and said like, yeah, okay, that's good. That sounds good. Because I'm here.
What was the problem you were going to come up with?
I don't know. I was thinking. Yeah, I was thinking.
In the chamber.
Marketing. Usually I was thinking marketing.
Yeah.
You know.
I think we need help with our marketing. Yeah.
But it was really hard for me to, because
that would have been brutal if you did that. That would have been funny.
I know. I do value relationships. So I was afraid to look bad. I was afraid to hurt his feelings. I was afraid that he wouldn't like me. That was all going through my head.
Yeah.
And I sent Alan an audio. I was like, he'd be so proud of me because that's the opposite. I don't like doing that.
Yeah.
I don't like that. That sucks.
That was your truth, though.
Yeah, but that's also the truth that I haven't been brave enough to share many times over the last 6 years.
Yeah. Hardest thing ever. That I agree
It's
with.
brutal.
It's super hard to share.
I just wanted to share that from the perspective of, it's almost like, it's interesting. One of the things we pride ourselves on is putting wind into the community sales, but also we share the fact that like maybe you eventually will go from not being really good at relationships and not knowing how you're going to accomplish your goals to really understanding how you're going to accomplish your goals. And then it gets weird on the other side too, because then it's like, oh, this isn't necessarily what's best for this relationship. I'm never going to talk to this person again.
Yeah.
Very weird.
There is a rolling theme. I know we got to jump. There's a rolling theme that when you come on the NLU team, I didn't mean to rhyme that, but it's working, that you're going to lose all your friends. And we're being playful. We
have some great jokes over here. You know,
we get some really good jokes. Yeah. What we're really doing is masking the pain of the truth that what the truth underneath that is, when you come on the NLU team, you're going to start growing exponentially and you're going to start focusing more on your goals and dreams and less on your relationships. And the non-growth relationships are most likely going to slip away more than they were before. And that's just the way it works. And so if you're more focused on achievement than you are relationships, you're most likely going to attract other achievers. If you're more focused on relationships, you're most likely going to surround yourself with people who are not achievement-oriented and then become even less achievement-oriented. So it's almost like all of us have to get outside our comfort zone and try to surround ourselves with at least one person in the opposite bucket. So let's have that be the practical thing. You know, if you're out there and you feel like your deepest pain is social, you're going to have to find someone who can help you be courageous and vulnerable around others, and who is a safe space for you to share your truth with, of like, honestly, I don't feel understood or seen or valued in this friend group or whatever it is. If you're on the other end and you feel not capable enough and you feel like you don't know how to achieve your goals, find someone who's a rock star at achieving what they want. I mean, I know that in the beginning, Kev, you knew you had more certainty in my corner because you knew that I was achievement-oriented and that I had a high probability of achieving what I set my mind to. Yeah, and so it's a really good play. That was a good play. And I wonder if people are doing that enough. I mean, you just got to get around winners because they'll rub off on you, you know? And you're not going to lose your ability to be great at relationships. You're going to keep that part of you, and you're going to evolve it into the better life that you want.
Oh, and you can practice teaching somebody else.
Right.
I didn't know how quote unquote good I was at that until you and I started talking, and you would ask or say like, "Hey, you're really good at that." It's like, "Oh, really?" Well, I don't know. I'm just used to doing things this way, just like you're used to doing things your way. Mm-hmm. That's the other thing too. Some of us don't even know what our great strengths are, is because we've never been around somebody whose strength is our weakness, whose weakness is our strength.
And
then they give you credit for it.
So much self-discovery in that, because it's like, oh, you're like really good at that, but that's really partially because I suck at it, you know. So of course I'm going to notice that. Whereas if you're around a bunch of people that are similar to you, they all have that strength probably, you know? So it's but it's hard on the ego, because there's a part of me, the last thing I promise, there's a part of me that envies how likable Kevin is. And I had this really very real moment at Next Level Live of like, I'm never going to be as likable as him. And I don't think I'm supposed to be. I don't know. I'm never going to be as relatable and as likable. And there's a part of me that has always wanted that. Because I've always felt like it wasn't easy for me to get along with other people. And I also had a similar moment where it was like, well, I'm also better at achievement than him, and I believe in myself more. And it's not like, and I think in some ways you might be jealous of how confident I am.
Definitely.
And it's just that weird thing where it's like, you want my confidence, I want your likability. And honestly, I don't know if you can have them both. I mean, maybe you can.
I don't know.
But
not unconsciously. I think you have to consciously do it.
Yeah, you have to practice the thing that you're, you know, which is Drive to 5.
I want to do something. Maybe, I don't know, I'd like to make this maybe a recurring thing. Because you did it. You said, like, this is the tactical takeaway. Maybe we can have, like, a next level lesson. Like, the next level lesson is the takeaway that you do. I just can't think of anything else that starts with L. Like, next level L. Something that starts with L that's taking action. Maybe I'll do some research. But I think a really good first step is next time you come across somebody who is the opposite of you, catch yourself in your thoughts. Catch yourself in your thoughts, because if you automatically say that person is bad or that person must be blank, that's a really good place just to redirect that thought. And that's just a simple place to start. So that would be my little next level lesson. I like that. Next level lesson.
I do too. Yeah. Well done, sir.
I appreciate that very much.
I thought of next level lethargic.
Of course you would.
That's the first L word that came to mind.
Next Level Nation, if you listen to us every day, well, first of all, shout out to you if you listen to us 7 times a week, but you most likely are into growth. You wouldn't listen to us, and you probably wouldn't like either of us if growth wasn't something that was important to you. If you are struggling with the relationship side of things, join our private Facebook group, Next Level Nation. You'll feel like you belong. You'll feel like you can actually post stuff that you really believe. You don't have to hide behind an Instagram profile or a TikTok profile. You can actually be yourself. You'll belong as yourself, and that's what we're all looking for. So link will be in the show notes. Next Level Nation Facebook group.
Belonging is feeling seen, feeling understood, and feeling valued. That is what we try to create at Next Level University. Next Level Nation, and also in book club. We're reading a book called How Emotions Are Made right now. It is a deep dive into emotional intelligence. So if you want to join us, it's every Saturday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The link to register, or the link to the landing page, will be in the show notes.
Tomorrow, for episode number 1378, you don't want to be the best person in the room. So that actually connects nicely to what we talked about today. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we do not have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Keep growing through your deepest pain. Next Level Nation.